We'll start off with Jim Proudfoot of the Toronto Star. He's the sports editor of the Toronto Star, and he writes, Gordie Howe has decided to call it quits after 25 seasons of National Hockey League stardom with the Detroit Red Wings. The team has called a press conference for Thursday. Its purpose, the Star learned on Tuesday, was to confirm growing speculation that the great right winger's health will not permit him to report for his 26th training camp this upcoming weekend. Howe, 43, will step into an executive position with the Detroit organization. Last season marked two firsts for Howe. For the first time in a decade, he missed more than 2 scheduled games. That in itself is amazing. And for the first time since 1955, and remember, we're talking about 1971 now, Gordie Howe failed to make either the first or second All-Star team. And that himself was truly incredible. Now, both facts were very significant as it turned out. Old age finally had begun to catch up with Gordie Howe. Minor injuries were slower to heal, and illnesses which wouldn't have even bothered him in the past were now keeping him out of the lineup. And Gordie, didn't like that. Worst of all was an extremely painful arthritic condition affecting his left wrist. At times, Howe was forced to play basically one-handed, and he warned his employers that if there was no improvement, even over the summer, he would have to call it quits. From time to time, there have been reports from Detroit and places where Howe would visit that the pain was not going away from Gordie's wrist. Now, with preseason preparations due to begin at the end of this week, Howe has given the news to Detroit owner Bruce Norris, general manager Ned Harkness, and coach Doug Barkley he would not be playing. Of course, they protested. They pointed out that a fraction of Howe last season had been better than 100% of 80% of the right wingers in the NHL. Working in 63 of Detroit's 78 matches, that's 15 games Gordie missed, he still scored 23 goals and added 29 assists, and that's a damn good year for an average right winger in the NHL. Gordie Howe, however, was not average, and he knew that. Howe leaves the game with a set of records that might never be equaled. Over his 25 years, he took part in 1,687 NHL games. He scored 786 goals and added 1,023 assists. He was the NHL's first All-Star right winger 12 times. He was scoring championship 6 times and also won the Hart Trophy as the player rated most valuable to his team an incredible 6 times. During Gordie's historic career, the Red Wings won the Stanley Cup 4 times. Howe played in 154 playoff games, averaging more than 1 point in each game, with 67 goals and 91 assists. Gordie Howe was born in Floral, Saskatchewan, but he grew up in Saskatoon, where his father still lives. His mother, unfortunately, just passed away this summer. Gordie lives in a Detroit suburb with his wife and 3 sons and a daughter. Howe joined the Red Wings as an 18-year-old rookie in 1946. 2 seasons later, he was a second-string All-Star, and by 1950 was leading the Wings as a right winger on a famous line with Sid Abel at center and terrible Teddy Lindsay patrolling the left side. The 1949-50 season was also the one in which the Wings took the cup without Howe's services. During that season, Gordie had suffered the only really serious injury of his whole career, crashing into the boards in an attempt to check the Toronto Maple Leafs captain Teeter Kennedy. Many blamed Kennedy for Howe's injury, and I myself had a long conversation, several actually, long conversations with Teeter about that incident, and there was no malice on Kennedy's part at all. Gordie just missed him because Teeter saw him coming. For a while, there was actually fear that Gordie would not recover from the injuries. He was, many reported, close to dying from the fractured skull, but he returned the following season and he won his first scoring title. Gordie said this to Jim Proudfoot: "My first aim in hockey was to last for a whole season. Much later, I decided I'd go for 20 years. Then I thought 25 would be a good round number at which to retire. Finally," Gordie says, "he thought it would be nice to stick around if he could until his sons were in the NHL." Well, Gordie, you came close. Marty has joined the Toronto Marlborough Juniors, and that's an important step towards the big leagues, and he'll be there for the 71-72 campaign. And Gordie is going to be able to watch.